all waiting for his wife Unicata to give birth. Lord Diego recalls the day he made a deal with the 12 demons in the Hall of Hell, choosing to follow the path of evil in exchange for power. The demons collect their payment. When his first son is born, a child is born without limbs, facial features, or skin. The baby set adrift in the river and left to its fate. 16 years later, he is now the young man. Wearing prosthesis made by Dr. Jukai, while hunting a sludge-like demon, he encounters Dororo, a young petty thief being. The world cheated out of their goods. The demon attacks and devours the young man uses blades embedded in his prosthetic arms to defeat it. Following the demon's death, the man's missing skin reappears, and lightning splits a demon statue in the Hall of Hell. Meanwhile, Diego's sick and Sentama returns home after hunting, but his mother still pines for her first son. The rural accompanies the young man and seems to be unable to see or talk. However, he has excellent sword skills, superhuman strength, and the ability to detect friendly or unfriendly beings by the color of their souls. Run by a beautiful woman named Bunny, and offers to slay a local monster, which rings a pilgrim bell. The blind mouth known as Baiwahoshi, who can also detect people's souls. They discover Bandai is actually a demon who has been eating travelers. After a long and intense fight, the young man slays the demon. The monster reappears, ringing its bell, and a villager explains it is the spirit of the first being the villagers killed. The young man reveals his name, Yakimaru. As Bandai statue in the Hall of Hell gets struck by lightning, Yakimaru regains his central nervous system, thus regaining the ability to feel pain. Meanwhile, Diego is told the Sack clan appears to be preparing for war. A doctor found more diverse, abandoned and deformed infant on a river bank. He took the child home and made special prostheses for him so he could move about and appear normal. Named Yakimaru. After the kid killed a lizard demon in his right leg was magically returned to him. Jukai realized that although the boy attracted demons, his body parts had probably been stolen by demons. The doctor inserted swords in Hyakumaru's prosthetic arms before the young man left to travel and alone. The Roro chats with the girl while Hyakuma stands outside, experiencing the feeling of rain for the first time. Suddenly, Hyakumaru detects a demon's sword and rushes off. He covers a man wielding the sword and only manages to defeat him by trapping the sword. Leg. The Roro goes to retrieve the leg, but it's pulled back to its owner when he touches the sword. The girl finds her brother Tamazuki and takes him home, but he is only interested in regaining the sword. Meanwhile, Yakimaru disarms Toraro Katana. Suki seizes the sword again, attacks Yakimaru. This time, Yakimaru kills him and breaks the sword, which returns his ears to him. The next morning, in the Saka territory, Hyakumaru encounters Meal, but he collapses from his wounds. The travelers stay with Maya and a group of orphan children at an abandoned while Mia works at night, serving the Sakak troops as a prostitute. Meanwhile, Wahoshi finds a better place for them, however is inhabited by demon. Despite his wounds still healing, Hyakumaru goes to fight it. Iwoshi is concerned. Yakimaru's white aura is starting to show hints of demon red. They encounter the antly and larvae-like demon, which bites off the lower half of Yakimaru's real leg, leaving him screaming in agony by Waho. She heads back to Miu's camp with Hyakumaru. His leg is half gone, but his voice is returned. He slowly adjusts to using his hearing and his voice. With the help of Miao, they become drawn to each other, and the red in his soul fades. Although only partially recovered, Yakimaru returns to kill the demon. He succeeds in killing the demon in his land heals. However, when he and Aurora return to the temple, Mayo mortally wounded, and Diego troops murdering the orphans because they believe Mayo is a Saka spy. Enraged by the attack of Mayo, Hyakumaru goes berserk, slaughtering all the Diego troops until the rural intervenes, fearing Hyakumaru may become a demon himself. After burying the dead, Yakimaru and Dororo continue their travel. A dark cloud containing a demon appears over a village, and the villagers hurriedly prepare a woman as a sacrificial bride to appease it. As Hyakumaru and the rural see the bridal parade traveling up the mountain, a wild boy Saru tries to stop the sacrifice. After the boy tells them the story of the demon, Dororo and Hyakumaru agree to exterminate the demon. A dark cloud envelops the large centipede, however. Yakimaru is unable to differentiate it from the cloud, as they both show red to his vision, and it swallows the woman. Dororo and Sarah devise a plan to create an explosion, using the sulfurous gas as emitted by the mountain, which sets the demon ablaze, but has little effect. The Roro then jumps on Demon's head and calls to Hyakumaru, enabling him to locate and attack the centipede by sound, destroying it. The dark cloud dissipates, and Hyakumaru and the woman, was still alive from being swallowed, fall into water. Sarah was relieved to find his sister and agrees to move into the village with her. Yakimaru regains his sense of smell, and for the first time addresses the Aurora by name. The rural falls ill with fever, and Yakimaru takes him to a temple for treatment. Later, dwarf recovers, but the priestess reveals to Yakimaru is actually female, calling to removing her clothes to wash them. Meanwhile, Divet was twice from a survivor of the attack on Leo's camp. A crab-like monster devours a man after destroying his boat. Meanwhile, a dragon that died below worsens where the escort clan gathering on their border. He visits the temple, finds more demon statues destroyed, and the demons inform him Yakimaru still alive and is slowly retrieving of his body. Diego's son Tamara discovers his father is searching for baby. Later, Tatamara and his two bodyguards Matsu and Hyogo would really speak of a monster in the lake which eats fishermen. He leads a group of villagers in their boats onto the lake and attacks and damages the monster, but it is too fierce, and they are forced to retreat. Then has the villagers construct a trap intending to lure the monster into a shallow channel where the water can be drained out. The plan works and have Matsu and Hyogo attack together. However, the monster fights back and almost devours Hyogo. But at the last minute, Yakima arrives and slays it. Amara is left wandering in this. Tamara learns Hekmer. Two travelers arrive in the Diego capital. There they see a play depicting Diego as a great slayer, protected by the goddess of mercy. She seeks the truth at the hall of hell. Will he act tomorrow? And tomorrow visit the remnants of For Famine. It was built by Dagu and is supposedly cursed by demon. They find remnants of a timber wall worthy or pinned bodies of their enemies with arrows. Plays Tsukaroka wishes to cross to the Sakura side and rejoin his family. Meanwhile, Tamara's bodyguards report the incident with Yakimaru Diego, who realizes son is alive and decides to kill. In the prosperity of his demise, marrying his wife please, Tamara overhears their exchange and later comes across a demented woman who was present at Yakima's birth. She tells him how the demons ate everything but left the boy alive. Night falls. A Bayman and a nine-tailed fox demon appears. While the taxi Yakimaru Sukuroku, the distraction past the wall to roar in pursuit. However, they are captured by a sack for centuries. The demon is eventually chased by the arrows of a squadron led by Daigo himself, who then approaches Hyakumaru. Hyakumaru does not recognize his father and his demonic red. Daigo orders his archers to fire a Hikimura who flees. Meanwhile, Dororo and Sukuroku are held in an escort prison with other prisoners, but the world manages to escape. Did I go Compound Tower confronts her mother but his brother's fate, but his father explains the bargain. Demons to save their land. Tomorrow appears and is seen by his mother, but I will brother. Orders him killed. Tomorrow was horrified, willing to sacrifice the land to save his brother. If Sakura start to kill their prisoners to provoke a war, and the Diego army charges forward, attracting the fox demon. Lord Diego rise of the army and Tamar was reluctantly accepted his father's decision and attacks Yakimaru. Hyakumaru breaks Tamara's sword and damages his, and kills the demon, which is sucked into the Bayman. Yuinarkata arrives and begs forgiveness for her complicity in Diobo's bargain. She then stabs herself, and her sacrifice causes her goddess of mercy statue to collapse. The Bem and survivors of Superoku's village arrive, and Superoku is reunited with his mother. Biwa Hoshi picks up Nunakata's small, headless wooden statue of the goddess of mercy, which sacrificed its own head. Yakimaru's birth so the child would not lose his head. Farming with the deep, and its gentle green or fate. Later, Yakimaru and Aurora visit an onsen where they encounter Kamura Hoshi and other children, who see a map which appears on Tera's back. Nunakata is shown to have survived, but Tamara has been blinded in his right eye, and a flashback. Drew part of the map of the location to his hidden money onto the back of his wife. Back so they could achieve it together later. Dora memorized the map on her mother's back before she died. In the present, Buhoshi and Yakima realize the map appears when Dwarf's back heats up, which be what she says gives her some choices in life. Yakima continues his search for Dr. I'm concerned even when a huge monster grabs Teroro. They arrive in a burned-out temple. Lord of the land, carrying a flower, offering to the spirit who inhabits the site, invites the mysterious home, where he says the temple house to Nunnery, which exploited children before, was struck by lightning and destroyed, killing everyone inside. That night, the travelers are attacked by a caterpillar-like monster, but when Hyakumaru, a huge moth-like demon, there is no way. The moth lands near Sibium and transforms into a white-haired woman. After she tells Sabin the food he provided for her children was too strong, he consoles her and promises to protect her and her children. Jorora visits Sabam's prosperous village. Means happy. She finds a rice storehouse deep but is pushed into the basement by the villagers. It is filled with the caterpillar monsters, which minister Jorora, but the baby monster returns to save her. The monster bursts open, releasing the spirits of the children from the temple, Sabine and the villagers, and said to me, "Ma'am." But after bring it down. Outside the village, Sabam tells Hyakumar he accepted the Mamian, but who fed on samurai and beasts to protect the village, and then took her as his wife. They made Mia emerge from their chrysalides and attack Yakima, who fiercely fights back. However, the last one destroys Hyakumar's prosthetic leg and then sacrifices itself to set fire to the village. Meanwhile, burns down the storehouse, destroying the caterpillars and the village rice supplies, causing the villagers to fight among them. Yakima finds and kills the original Mayam, which returns to Spinal Colony. He and Aurora walk back through said babes' burned-out village. Many villagers lie dead, including Sabi. The rural wonders if they did the right thing, but Jakmar states his only concern is killing demons. Aurora and Hyakumar walk separate ways, but bandit named Itachi father finds her. On the map, mother backhand. Half. She denies knowledge of a map, but Itachi and his men take her with them, believing she has memorized it. They travel for days. Rose mother half of the map, which had she discovered after he dubbed up her body. They arrive at Cape Town where the treasure is located, but can't reach it without a boat. After failing to find boats at a nearby village, which they believed was destroyed by bandits, they meet Shirley, a one-armed youth who offers to take him across. They board two boats pulled by huge sharks, Jiromaru and Sabiramaru. Midway across, Shirley reveals he fed his arm to the sharks. However, they developed a taste flesh, so he then killed to feed them. On his signal, the sharks capsize one of the boats and devour the men on board. Not wanting them to gorge themselves, he leads Sabra to watch the second boat until they come back later to eat. Disheartened, attachment counts how he and his men were exploited by his lord. The world breaks the War Samurai Maru. On her signal, they pulled her up, and when the shark surfaces, stab and kill it. They then pile ashore Kibakatsu. When Shirley comes ashore to investigate, he is savagely beaten by the bandits. Itachi strips Dororo's clothes looking for the map and realizes Dororo is a girl, while the heat the fire reveals the map on her back. Ashurtami vows revenge. Elsewhere, as Hiyakuma struggles to walk, he pauses a month who tells nearby who can give him a new leg. You guys adding the dead on a battlefield. Monocle attacks, but Hyakumaru appears and kills it. Back in his cave, Jukai is horrified. Yakima explains what his father did to him. Suddenly a landslide blocks the entrance to the cave, while Jakimar digs his way out. If they find, by demon tree producing more pools, Yakimar slays them all until he eventually pierces the tree's heart and destroys it. At the Diego compound, Nunakata recovers, but Tamara leaves to kill a reported ghoul without visiting her. And what a rat-like ghoul. To kill both the ghoul and its progeny, who are still alive inside, pledging his sword to defend Diego land. When they return, Diego sends Tamara and a small army kill Yakimaru. Meanwhile, Yakima rows his small boat towards Cape Katsu. Shirley calls on the giant Churhyur. Body in. It attacks Jorora, but she is saved by Hyakumaru, who slays the demon. Yakima's left leg is restored. Meanwhile, Russian but are killed. A booby-trapped explosives tat. Tomorrow with the fleet land on the shore and pursuit of Yakimaru. And Tamar gives orders to leave. Role of the Tattoosure. Yakumar come across a wooden. Hyakumaru was attacked by Tamar Mutsu and Hyugo, so attaching grabs too. Hayabu sure newly detonates the booby trap bombs you remove in an attempt to kill everyone, killing himself and causing a landslide. Men are cute, badly wounded, so they decide to withdraw, assuming Hyakumaru is dead. Meanwhile, Dororo and the morally wooden attaché fall into a cave. Discover the treasure. Itachi dies after seeing it. Hyakumaru finds Tamaro. The treasure hidden until she decides what to do. Hyakumaru and Aurora seek the swordsmith to repair the swords in Hyakumaru's prosthetic. Yakima refits the repaired swords and continues his journey with Dora. Have Tamaro and his age. fallen divas villages, and since it starts spreading inwards, they suspect the demons are upset Yakima isn't dead. Back in this compound, Diver realizes his deal with the been revoked since the destruction of the goddess of mercy statue, and the days of prosperity are over. Meanwhile, Yakimaru and Juro encountered Dai's spot Saproda, who's hunting a local demon that is his mother. A gigantic gnu appears. Yakimaru goes to fight it, but is intercepted by Saproda, who now delights in sin. The demon devoured terrified travelers. During the fight, Yakimaru and Drool fall. Becomes trapped. Yakima's unable to fear, despite breaking his left prosthetic arm and subterranean water against her eyes. Suddenly Baiwa Hoshi appears and frees Juro. Of the sword is broken. Again. His body Yakimaru attacks and badly wounds the gnu. Eats several in desperation, absorbing him into its body. Yakima finally slays it. However, no part of his body is returned to him, even when he cuts the wear upon pieces, much to the horror of the world. Be what hosts you watch. As sadly as the brutality results in Hikama's hitting a red heart, thinking he has a heavy fate to bear, Yakima realizes he must confront Diego to have his body fully restored. Yakimaru approaches. Desire to recover his body parts. They are recognized by a villager who notifies Diego. Meanwhile, the situation worsens in Diego territory. Villages which have become disease are burned, and there happens kids killed. Evil-bodied men are conscripted for the war against the threatening sack or clan. Horses, a nursing mother horse named Fedoro, are requisitioned. So to stop Yakimaru himself. If fine he had Kumar. No way. Soldiers' bodies and attack him together. Yakimaru severs Matsu's right arm and Hyabu's left arm, and again cuts Tabara's right eye. World looks on a horror Yakimaru savagery. Suddenly a group of men sent by Diego to protect their prince intervene. The leader sends Maduro loaded with explosives towards Yakimaru. Go in here tomorrow into the reveal. Dororo is captured by the villagers, and tomorrow is due by dart when he refuses to leave. Later spirits possess Madora's body parts, turning it into a flaming horse. Timer's Rube return home with Aurora, while Dino prepares to repel an impending attack by the asexual clan. Fight in Batman. Yakimaru. Our world has been kidnapped, his rage drawing the demon horsedom. Tamer visits Hayoko's sister Matsu. Lost her right arm and is also weak. She was hiding, but she refused to see him as she won't risk infection. Meanwhile, Nunakata frees Tabaro and gratitude for providing companionship for Yakimaru and leaves with him. Their boat is smashed in the strong current, and they are rescued by Dagger refugees, including Buhoshi. Nunakata decides to stay to help care for the sick and wounded. Boots, who leaves the compound badly ill, prompting Tamara and Hyogo to go after her. Elsewhere, Yakimaru is joined with the demonic horse. Madara is cutting a bloody, seeking Juro. Matsu staggers to the demon temple and offers herself to the 12th and final to protect the land and its people. Tadamaru and Hyogo arrive to see her off rejected. However, when the trio later intercept Yakimaru, their wounds have been healed by the demon. Matsu and Hayako each bear one of Hyakimaru's real arms and Tabara's his two eyes. Dagger villagers near the border prepare for the impending. Yakimaru attacks Tamara, Matsu and Hyogo to reclaim his eyes and arms. Meanwhile, Nunakata and Doro arrive at the battle, but are held back by Baiwo Hoshi. Badero attacks Matsu and Hyogo, but is distracted by the arrival of Fullness wounded, and rage towards. Crushes Matsu, but their bodies are controlled by the demon, which uses their arms too. On their deaths, Yakimaru's arms return to him, and he grabs the two sword blades that were in its prosthesis. Keep fighting tomorrow. Confused by emotions when he sees Nunakata and Warvel approach, Yakimaru runs off the pursuit. He will Hoshi, Nunakata and Juro debate the value of one life against the needs of many, and conclude only what is gained by their own hands will last. At the border, I believe his army forward. Defeat the Sakura and give meaning to his decisions. Yakimaru follows. Lego Castle and their fight resumes. During this struggle, they knock over a candle stand, setting the castle on fire. The smoke alerts to Roro and Nunakata were drawn by concern for the young brothers. Tamara and Hyakimaru continue their fierce battle inside the burning Dago castle. Meanwhile, Nunakata leaves Biwo, Xian World, while she enters the castle for a hidden tunnel and meets Jukai. Above them, Hyakimaru finally defeats Tamara, but does not kill them. The demon with Hyakumaru's eyes tries to take control of Tomaru, but he removes the eyes, which return to Hyakumaru. After Hyakumaru slays the demon, he becomes whole for the first time. Chukai gives him a newly carved goddess of mercy statue. Dorali hear Tomaru reunited as the castle burns. Yu and her colleague tends to have as she dies and her arms and the castle collapses. Meanwhile, the last demon statue falls. Diego beats his army against the Sakura. Later, the world proposes to retrieve the treasure to help the refugees, while Hyakumaru finds his father wounded but defiant in the Hall of Hell. However, when Hyakumaru departs about killing him, leaving the goddess of mercy statue behind, Dog realizes if he had not made the pack of the demons, Hyakumaru had the ability to save his land. Hyakumaru departs alone, leaving Juro behind, knowing however that they will meet again in the future. In the final scene, Samurai to react to Maru, who smiles as he turns to see her the end. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe for more. See you next time.